Hey guys, this is just a note that you have to remember the size of your pot has to match the size of the heating element. Can you see? When I pull it over, you can't really see the red hot anymore, but it kind of covers the bottom of the pot. Okay, so as you can see, Marla is like toasting those almonds. And can you see it's getting some brown color there? Because it's caramelizing. But you have to keep shaking so it caramelizes evenly. And then you put it back a little bit, and a few seconds later you pick it up again and keep shaking it so it heats evenly. Okay? So while Marla is toasting those almonds, I'm just going to show you that we're preparing for the melting and tempering of the chocolate. So our bowl of water is heating up, and I've got this bowl here, can you see? So it's very important, a couple of notes here, that the bowl has to be able to sit on your pot. So can you see it's like, okay, it wiggles a bit, but it's not going anywhere, okay? The second thing is that water should never touch the bottom of your bowl. So when I put it on there, you can not see it because this is not see-through, but you can kind of gauge that the water will always be below the metal bottom of the pot. If it touches the bottom of the pot, your chocolate will seize, so it will become grainy and kind of ruined. So just make sure that you remember just a little bit of water at the bottom is enough, and then it will melt beautifully for you. Okay, so it's just heating up right now.
Okay, at this point, if you're tempering a small amount of chocolate, it would be good to use a small amount of pot, put it in the smallest element, and making sure, remember, to just turn this because you only need the smallest element. You don't need the biggest element. And probably around halfway to start simmering the water. And here we're using a glass bowl this time, and it should sit also on the pot nicely secured but not touching the water. So you can use a glass bowl and you can use a metal bowl. Depends on the amount of chocolate that you will temper. We're looking at simmering water, not boiling. Okay? When you look at this, you're supposed to just put the temperature down a little. So I'm moving from 2.5 to 2. Just making sure that you don't get it to boil, but to just simmer. Okay, so it's sitting now quite ready for tempering. I will move it a little bit down because you don't want that bubbles to put pressure on the bowl and burn the chocolate. Here, remember also to get your mittens because the metal bowl is getting hot. See that is already almost boiling because we put it at 6. Now if you push it down low, it will start to lower the temperature of the water and it will just simmer. Again, make sure the metal bowl sits on top of the pot. We have measured 100 grams of chocolate. I want you to just get 3/4 of and leave a quarter, approximately a quarter of the chocolate melt. And you need a wooden spoon, and you can see now that the chocolate is melting. Okay, again, you have to vigorously mix it, lift it up, okay, and you will see now that it's turning into, put it back again, and you could see that it's almost melted. Now you have to introduce the leftover quarter part of the chocolate to really get that stage of a well-tempered chocolate. I suggest I have to turn this off now and just put away your bowl on the bench, and you could still continue mixing, aiming to get that crystal 5 in the tempering process of chocolate. See that? Here you go. There must be some sheen or shine or gloss. It should have turned from solid to liquid state, and you can see that it's moderately thick, viscous, moderately viscous, and now you can start dipping your potato chips if you would like to have that. You can have the option of taking your thin one, moderately thin one, thick, sorry, and very thick potato chips. You can do a dipping of the thick. You can have a portion of that or totally dip it. It's up to you. And you could probably get some tray ready near your bench so you can actively try different ways of dipping the potato chips. I wouldn't put the potato chips into the chocolate mixture. I would just dip it like that. Okay, at that point, you're ready to put that in the fridge, or just making sure that it cools. And this one is the moderately thick. Okay, that's another way of looking at the product we're going to process for this year. So it will give you an understanding of different flavor profile, and once you have mastered the tempering, you'll be able to actually work with different materials or ingredients. I wouldn't get so much chocolate, but I will just get enough for us to just have a go. And sometimes you can also use the potato chips to spread it further and have that other part of the potato chip covered with more chocolate. So the next thing that you can also do is you can put here the remaining chocolate. So I will get now a spatula, which is scraping your chocolate, putting it there, slathering it up on the baking paper, Okay, it's just a matter of experimenting. Now, some of you will probably get it correctly on the first trial, which is a thin layer of chocolate, but you can also have it, we can crush it on top of it and see later on how it will attach to the tempered chocolate, the chips. So it will be more of a experimental thing for us. See that? That's a good shine. That's a good test for tempering our chocolate and seeing that you're interacting with different ingredients, different thinness of chips, thickness of chips, but just plain ones. Okay.
So you see, Marla makes sure that no chocolate goes to waste. And the spatula is like your best friend here, because it's so good you can scrape out even the last little drops of melted chocolate.
I think the most important thing also is that not to waste your ingredients, because we're actually using a high grade quality of chocolate. And if you waste chocolate and leave it on the bowl, it adds up to your food cost.
And washing is so hard.
Yeah.
It's like really hard.
Okay, so hopefully you got a good idea of how we scrape the chocolate.
See, so shiny.
Here we have freeze-dried raspberries. We can actually have some dehydrated fruits on our bark. And then a while ago we were toasting the almonds. Okay, we're aiming really a very thin bark, not a thick bark. So as you improve on your tempering, you'll be able to achieve this stage of processing. And probably just a tiny bit of whole cashews, just to give a different profile of flavor and texture. And some nuts. Another type of nuts would be your regular peanuts. Okay, so that's another chocolate bar that you can look into. So here at this point, you can now start pressing your ingredients so that it actually attaches well to the bark, your chocolate. You can use this gently, not to pick up the chocolate. Light pressure over your ingredients. Okay?
Look how shiny it is. guess what? I am going to eat this. Ha! I'm going to be the customer to give feedback.
Stakeholder feedback.
The stakeholder feedback, that's right.
Okay, so today we're going to pop some corn. Now, we're not encouraging you to use the bag of popcorn that you just put in the microwave. We're literally using the corn. We need to make sure that as you can see, we're using the commercial stove, right? So we have to make sure that we are holding the knob. Okay, turning this a little bit down from the start and releasing it like that. Okay, I would use this amount, size of the pot and not this small one, because if you look at it, you will have a hazard here, which is burning your hands and at the same time heating up the handles, which is not a good thing. So this is the best size of pot that you can use. Now I'm going to put some oil, just enough oil. Swirl it over the pot. I have about 40 grams of popcorn here, which you need to pour it now, and make sure that you just shake it a bit so that oil covers it and that it can be cooked properly. I will put the lid and then wait for about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and you will actually hear some popping. So at this point, you might probably be hearing that it's popping already. So I would make sure that I'm using the mittens. One part is holding the lid and the other part is holding the handle. And you need to take it away from the flame, still giving it a good shake. And at this point, I will turn this off. Okay? Because that is a very hot flame. Okay? The element is still hot. You can still actually put the pot back, but this time you have turned it off, and voila, there's your popcorn.
Magic.
Okay, so this one is a ready set up already of double boiler method. You see, the glass is a little bit warm to touch. I have measured 200 grams of chocolate. I'm going to pour it. And remember, just take a little bit to just stabilize the chocolate crystals later on. See how hot the element is. Okay, keep on stirring. I would just touch the tip of the glass bowl. Okay, and make sure you really have to turn every chocolate melt in order to get that correct temperature. Seeing I'm dropping some chocolate, but just making sure that you're stirring and agitating the chocolate crystals actually. Okay, we're now at the stage where it's turning liquid more into, from a solid state to a liquid state. There, see, it's beginning to pour now. I'm going to take it out, set it on my baking tray, and vigorously stir it. This time you need muscles. Okay, see that? You are also producing the glossiness or the shine by stirring the chocolate well. I will add the remaining chocolate to just stabilize the crystals we need. And then we can now go for a full stir of the chocolate mixture. See that? It's turning now into a well-tempered chocolate. Now, what we can do now is just try to slather this on your baking tray. See those small chunks of chocolate? You can push it down with your spatula. And making sure also that you check the back part. And you can work out with the spatula more than the wooden spoon this time, because you have it already at liquid stage. See that? That's the shine that we want to have. And then we can pour it right at the middle of the tray. See, I'm scraping every chocolate I could scrape from the bowl. And making sure that I'm not wasting a well-tempered chocolate. There you go. Okay? In a sweeping motion, left to right, you're going to have just a free form, a free shape. There's a movement going down there. You can see that some chocolate is a little bit grainy. If the kitchen is quite cold, it also affects how you temper chocolate. But at this point, extend it further, move your spatula in a sweeping motion. This time you're making the bark a little bit thinner, and we will have a play with flavors here. So we're making now a big bark. You could see that 200 grams of chocolate is creating a big bark. You can get again your wooden spoon, push back the remaining chocolate that is actually sticking from your spatula. Okay, that's how you go about using much of your chocolate. And now with our popcorn ready, we can have a play. There you go. So I would not overload it. I will give some for the potato chips. Okay? And some variations that you can possibly think of. So here we have the thin potato chips, and we can crush it on top of it. See? Just the sound of it, I think it's very inviting. Okay, and we can have a go with chunks or crinkle cut potato chips. See this? You can break it into pieces, but still you can see that the chips are integrated slowly into the chocolate, melted chocolate. So for today we're missing the pretzels, but we can have a go. Okay. This will be your next adventure when you're tempering the chocolate. Okay. And then we can just press it gently. So, quite an unusual flavor, but I think that's the fun of food technology. Getting good flavors to work, but also being innovative with your product. Okay? Lovely.